Hello everyone and welcome to another of my tutorials. In this tutorial I intend to show you relative and absolute cell referencing in Microsoft Excel. This happens to be one of the most important knowledge that you need to have when working with spreadsheets, and this is an opportunity, if you don't already know it, to uh, get the knowledge and apply it in your use of Microsoft Excel. Through this tutorial, we'll be looking at using the F4 button to create cell referencing options, and we'll be using an example to understand what cell referencing is all about and how we could make references absolute or relative. And I'll be giving you a takeaway assignment and addition table to practice what you have learned in this tutorial. So let's quickly look at what we have in this tutorial. First, I have an illustration here to help us understand the behavior of the F4 button, because it's very resourceful in creating cell references, absolute or relative. In Excel, we have cell addresses, and the example we have here is cell A1. We already have a value in cell A1, just the number 2. The cell A1 has the address. If you look at the name box here, its address is A1. And what does this really mean? It simply means that we have a column identity. That's the column. It's highlighted there. The column header highlighted A. The column is A. And we have a role identity. The role in this case is 1, role 1. And you can see it's highlighted when cell A1 is the active cell, or is the selected cell. So cell A1 could have has rather a column identity, and it also have a row identity. Now these two identities can be in any of four ways like we have it here, and time and again you might need to make references of this nature, of any of this nature, and your F4 button would happen. Your F4 button um, your F4 button can be used to toggle through the different kinds of referencing that you could use in Microsoft Excel. Let's look at how they behave here. If you hit your F4 button for the first time, while a cell is in its edit mode. When we say edit mode, currently it is just the active cell, it's not in its edit mode. You could put it in its edit mode by hitting your F2 button, and when you hit your F2 button like I have done, you could see what the cell is. We no longer see the value 2, we see the formula that is within that cell. Another way you could make a cell be in its edit mode is while the cell is selected, you could just go to your formula bar, this bar here, rectangular bar here, it's your formula bar. So you could go to your formula bar, and just by the formula, or anywhere within the formula, just click on it, and it would be in its edit mode. So while it's in its edit mode, you could hit the F4 button. I'm going to hit it once and see what happens. You see that a dollar sign comes before the column identity A and the role identity 1. That's exactly what you get when you hit it for the first time, when the cell is in its edit mode. Okay, so we're going to hit our enter button to leave it just the way we have referenced it. Now let's go to the second one. What really happens in this case? Actually, here we see that the the column identity is relative. It has no dollar sign before the uh, letter A. So that means the column identity is relative, but the role identity is absolute. Another word for absolute is that it is fixed in this case. So while here I'm going to hit my F2 button to be in its edit mode, and then we're going to hit F4 twice, 1 and 2. So you can see that here we have the role identity to be absolute or fixed, but the column identity is relative. If there is no dollar sign there, that means it's relative. So we hit the enter button and leave it like that. So you already know what will happen in the case of the third hit. So let's go. This time I'll use my mouse so that you'll see the different ways to put it in the edit mode. So we hit it here, we're in the edit mode, then F4 3 times, 1, 2, and 3. So here you see that we have the column identity A, it's absolute, while the row identity here is relative, and that's what we have here. So if you hit F4 4 times, what you're going to have is that it's going to return you to your default mode where both role and column identities are relative. So I'm going to hit the first, both are absolute, hit again, role is absolute, hit again, column only is absolute, and hit again, both of them are both relative in this case. So that's how the F4 button behaves when it comes to relative and absolute referencing. Now let's apply what we've learned in an example. Here I have a multiplication table yet to be developed here, and you know what a multiplication table does. What I really want to do here, I want to have the value of 1 multiplied by 1, and here I want to have the value that results when we multiply 2 by 1, 3 by 1, 4 by 1, and so on and so forth. Here we need to have the value 144 here, because that will be 12 times 12. So let's start. And so in here I'm going to come and say this value 1 multiplied by this other value 1, and we get the correct answer here. So like in Excel we find that, okay, well, we can easily copy this formula down, because once we've entered the formula once, we can always copy it down. So what's really happening in this case is that our formulas have been copied, and they are all in their relative mode, and relative is now going to help us. Let's see exactly what is happening. For this first formula we wrote, everything is correct, it's fine. So let's look at the second one. Oh, we have a problem here, but somehow, some way, it's giving us the correct answer. Why? Because we're multiplying by just another 1 here. What we want is that this 2 should multiply this value that is here. So, but that's not what it's doing. Now let's go further and see what's happening. Now you can understand what is happening. As I copied the formula down up to this cell, we find that because our formula is relative, we see that this reference, which ought to be fixed here, is moving with us. As I move across columns, I see that this column is no longer a reference. So what will I do? I need to tell Excel in this formula that please keep this column fixed irrespective of how I move to other this other cell. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to come here and make this cell, take it to its edit mode, and the red cell with red in its identity, I'm going to look for its column identity, that's A there, and I'm going to hit my F4 until A alone is made absolute there, and that's what we really have there. So it's absolute. Let's see if our formula it's going to work. So we come here and alternate HV. I want to paste just the formulas, so I'm going to paste formulas now, and there we are. And there we are, everything is correct. That's what we want. Now if we go to the edit mode, you see it's doing the right thing. It is 12 multiplied by this one. So irrespective of how where I copy the formula towards my right hand side, you can see it's doing the right thing. 6 multiplied by 1. So everything is right, and so let's hope it will be right when we copy all of this formula down. So we're going to take this formula, we're selecting all of this, and VF. Like you can see, we're not getting what we want. Something must be wrong. And yes, something is wrong. Let's take this cell to its edit mode and see what's wrong. We want whatever value here to multiply the value up here. But as we copy down, we find that we are not at our desired row. We want the formula to stay in this row, irrespective of our copying the formula down. So we need to go back to this formula again, put it in its edit mode, and this time we're looking at the cell with the blue lines because we want it to stick to this row while we copy it down. And so we want to work on the row and not the column this time. So you can see we need to go to B20, hit our F4 button until the role identity is absolute. So currently now you can see a $sign coming before the role identity 20, and that's exactly what we want. So we're going to hit copy this cell, and we want to paste this formula all through. Alternate H V F, and that does that. And now you can see that we now have all our formulas right. So if you go to the edit mode while you are in this cell, you see it's multiplying 12 and 12 here. That's exactly what we wanted it to do. That irrespective of copying this formula down, we are going to have 12 multiplying 7 here. That's exactly what we want. So you can see we've been able to get our multiplication table by using our understanding of cell referencing. So you can see for every formula here, you can see a situation where we referenced the role identity and a situation where we had to reference the column identity. So I'm leaving you with this takeaway assignment, the addition table. I've already done it here. I'm not going to click on any of the cells here because you're going to see the formula. I want you to just play with it. It's a similar formula like we've used here, but I just want you to test your understanding of what you've learned in this tutorial to create an addition table like what you're seeing in an Excel sheet. If you don't understand it, you can always play the video over and then um, and, and and try your hands on the assignment and do it. I really want you to understand cell referencing because it's very, very important in analyzing data within Microsoft Excel. I hope you found this tutorial exciting and you learned something from it. Hope to see you in yet another tutorial video of mine. Have a nice time.